live. Look at Eli. We're live. We're live. Okay.
That puppy almost got my lollipop.
I know. Well, you gotta
Remember,
you gotta keep your food away from him.
he's in the paper.
I know he does that. So for people who are don't know this, we have a new addition to our house.
It's messed up.
It's okay. So we just, was it last week? Yeah, just 1 week ago, we got a puppy. We got a dog. It's not really a puppy. It's small like one though. Come here.
It's like nuggets.
So this may be we haven't figured him out yet. We haven't figured out why he barks and when he barks. And we were taking him off a friend of ours. Our friend couldn't handle him anymore and was not keeping the best care of him. And he makes a mess of everything. He's pulling wrappers out of my trash and eating wrappers and eating paper and barking all hours of the night and waking us up. It's been quite an adjustment. I had a dog as a kid, but I haven't had a dog in over 20 years. So now
especially he's annoying.
Is he annoying?
When I was walking in my bedroom, he barked.
Yeah. So that's what's new here. I know I haven't seen you guys in a couple of weeks. I have been traveling a lot. Thank you for being here. Good morning, Karen, Christina, Jacqueline, Nicola. Eli just dropped my light. Let's put this back on so people can see us. There we go. Don't hit the computer because it might fall off, okay? Derek's here. Donald's here. Callie's here. Jasmine's here. I don't know is here. I want to talk to you guys about how sometimes when you're trying to do something great, everything will start messing up, right? And Giovanna and I were at this conference last week in Florida, and it was called Offer.
Especially that annoying dog.
So yes, we have an annoying dog now, but quit calling him annoying dog. Otherwise he'll keep being annoying. How would you call him a nice, quiet, friendly dog and see if he lives up to that? I don't know if it works in the animal kingdom, but I know one thing. Whatever we tell ourselves and whatever we tell other people, we'll live up to or they'll live up to. So don't know if it works for a dog. He's over there on my couch chewing on, I think, something he pulled out of my trash. But you can't go up to him while he's eating or he'll bite you, right? Anyway, it's been definitely a learning curve. Okay, so how are you guys? So I was at a conference and I was going to share with you just some of the keynotes and takeaways I got from, I think I called today's live stream like how when you attempt to do something, everything starts to mess up. Well, the speaker who held this conference, his name is Myron Golden, and one thing he says all the time is that disruption always follows intention. So how many of you have you ever I'm going to set out to do this thing and it's going to be great. And then it's almost like immediately once you set your intention and once you start, it seems like everything goes wrong. Has that ever happened to you?
No, don't go in front of him.
It's just a crazy day here at my house. So we've got Boris, we've got Snoopy, and we've got Nugget. Come here.
We got a new dog, by the way.
I was trying to show. Yeah, so this is one of the disruptions that follows intention. I was like, when I get home from this conference, I'm going to just go to work on my goals. And then, well, there's the kids. And then, see, so this is going to be a new thing. I hope this isn't,
Mom, don't touch the dog.
Okay. I was trying to show you guys the dog, but he does not want to be picked up right now. So disruption follows intention. So what I'm telling you guys is when you start to do something, when you say, even it could be something simple. It doesn't even have to be like a big dream or goal. You could be like, I am going on a diet on Monday. And then Monday comes and your coworkers bring your favorite donuts. And you're like,
Oh my God.
right? Disruption
Temptation.
follows.
Temptation.
Exactly. That's a disruption that follows your intention. Or it could be like, I am, what is another thing? I'm not going to play video games. I'm going cold turkey. And as soon as you have that intention, what happens?
I don't know.
Temptation. I got to fix something. I got to get on the computer. Right?
I got to play
Yeah.
Roblox.
Yeah. So we got Rebecca's here now.
Except I grew Roblox.
I don't know. Will he grow out of it now? Because he's over a year old.
Oh,
I don't know.
No.
Maybe
no,
he's
no,
just.
No, I don't watch horror movies. I make my own horror movies that are PG-13. Why would you put a silly comment? Timothy, did you watch the funny robot movie, Megan? I do not watch horror movies.
Okay, so he's answering Christina's question, who asked Timothy.
I'm going to punch him on if you ask that question one more time.
Okay, calm down. It's just a question. Timmy doesn't watch horror movies. He tries to make, they're not horror movies that you make. He tries to make kind of scary movies on his channel, but he makes them with stuffed animals, so they're not really that
Also,
scary.
no knives in my bonus. No, killer bonus. So bonus to killer. I don't know.
Oh, yep. See, Jasmine's got a great example. She says, I'm going to clean my room and be productive on Thursday. And then once Thursday's here, she loses her motivation or something comes up. That's happened to all of us, right? You set an intention. I'm going to go do this today. And then suddenly the kid is sick or bumps his head and like, it looks like you bumped your head. Something is always happening that's trying to disrupt our intentions for what we want. So how do you deal with that? Like, it's constant here at my house. It's shocking and amazing.
You kill a boys.
Shocking and amazing that I've gotten five books written with all the disruptions I have at my house. And now this new little dog. Jesse says, don't let outside forces get you. Focus on your inner strength. Yes. And it's great to focus on that. And we can have the best intentions possible. But if people around us are coming in and interrupting us,
Also,
it's not always the easiest thing to do, right? To keep your intentions set. Even if you live alone and don't have kids, the minute you like, I'm going to do this one thing, your phone starts ringing, your email goes off, someone pops over. What's up?
I'm going to go make 2 bonus movies. I'm going to cancel Ninja Boys.
Okay.
Because the 3 movies give me too much stress, okay?
Okay. Well, we don't want you to have stress. Just focus on one thing at a time.
I know.
Right? Okay. So yeah, disruption always follows intention. And sometimes you guys think, oh, well, I said I'm going to set out to do this one thing. I'm going to have this one goal. I'm going to create this thing. I'm going to move to this new place. I'm going to get this new job. When disruption follows, when everything tries to come against you and stop you from doing that thing, sometimes we think, well, maybe it wasn't meant to be. Maybe I'm not supposed to have that. Maybe I'm not supposed to do that. But sometimes disruption is showing that maybe you're on the right track, right? Like if you weren't, there's a couple ways to look at it, but when you know, like you have this goal or dream in your heart and you feel like you heard from God and this is what you're supposed to do, and disruption follows, you know that's the enemy trying to stop you.
Oh, distractions.
Distraction, yeah, that's
like
this. This is distractions, right?
Yes,
This is distractions from my live stream right now. I have a distraction sitting on my lap, a distraction in my ear, a distraction nipping at my feet. Distractions can follow you too, right? So like when you set out to do stuff, like if you're going to do something creative or you're going to work on your goals and dreams, putting your phone in another room, right? Go put your phone in a different room.
Yeah,
And turn off all your notifications. If you want to be productive and get anything done, turn off your notifications. Do not have your phone in the room with you because it's so easy when you get stuck.
Get distracted.
It's so easy to get distracted. Thank you, Timmy. It's so easy. Like when I'm writing and I reach a part where I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do here with this character. I don't know what I want the next line to be. I don't know how I'm going to make this rhyme with this poem or whatever. It's so easy.
Yes.
Is this like perfect for the topic today or what?
Well, I'm sorry. It's just Bonus is doing some random things. I don't know why.
So disruption follows intention. It's so easy to, when you get stuck on trying to put your plans together, to go, you know what? I'm just going to check my social. I'm just going to check and see what's going on there. 20 minutes go by, 30 minutes go by. And all the product people who've like monitored, like measured people who are productive, do you know that every time you switch a task, Timmy, Eli, why don't you guys go in the living room and watch Bible study, okay? Good idea. You guys go watch your Bible.
No, the doggy might bite me.
The dog's not going to bite. Well, I can't promise that, but disruption follows intention. So that's just something to be aware of. It doesn't mean you should quit your goals. It doesn't mean you should quit your dreams.
Guys, I gotta go now.
Okay. All right. Go.
Bye, y'all. Say bye, boys.
Okay. Go watch your Bible study. Just because you get interrupted, just because somebody tries to wreck your plans, just because things aren't working out, doesn't mean that you're not where you're supposed to be. Doesn't mean that oh, I guess I'm not supposed to do this. It wasn't meant to be. It's not meant to happen. I just want you guys to know that. Let me look at some of your. I guess he didn't leave. Let me look at some of your things that you've been saying. Is it Miradini? That's me. I have it all the time. I decided to change myself for something better, and something does something that doesn't help me, and I hate it. That's what happened to me when I was trying to lose weight, and I ended up gaining some of it back, Samuel says, right? Disruption follows intention. Has this happened to any of you guys? Do you want to put in there? Jordan says, well, Catherine, I don't feel well when I have plans made, and then there's a distraction, then my routine goes out the window. Kev says, disruptions make you a good multitasker. You know, I used to buy into the multitasking stuff. I used to think I was so great at doing all these different things. And I used to pride myself on being a multitasker. But research has shown that you're not as productive when you're a multitasker, that you actually get more done when you really hone in and focus on like one thing. And I have so many projects, and a lot of times I would I'd make my schedule, like I'm going to do this for an hour, this an hour, this, and I would schedule all these different things so I could work on all the different goals. But research has found that it actually takes about 20 minutes for you to fully switch mentally from one task to another task. That you can't do both, and the time it takes to switch, that you'd be much better off just like the word focus. The acronym is following one course until successful. So when you focus and you're not switching back and forth, you're able to engage more, you're able to engage deeper, you're able to get more done. And so instead of me doing like 7 things in a day, it'd be better if I worked on one thing each day to get more productive, because it's 20 minutes before you can switch back into the right frame of mind when you're going back and forth. Okay, so we've got Samuel here. Jordan says he turns off his notifications and puts do not disturb when he's in a public place. Marianne is here. Hi. Dana, it's a perfect demonstration. Disruption follows intention. I was like trying to get them out of here so I could go on my live stream. That's my intention. So disruption is going to come. And I've talked to many of you that are like, oh, this just happened. So why am I bothering? I may as well quit. I'm not going to do it. But you have to know, when you set out to do anything, disruption is going to always follow. Even if what you're doing is not even important, disruption will follow intention. Even if you go, I'm just finally going to relax. And disruption will still follow, right? Somebody's at the door. The dog is barking. Your kids are screaming. The phone is ringing. Your friend has an emergency. And you're like, I just wanted one day of peace. I just wanted to relax. So it doesn't even have to be like, I'm setting out to go change the world today. Sometimes disruption will even follow the little things. VS says, not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some come to clear your path. So how many times has it been where COVID is a prime example? of this, right? It had the world shut down for a couple of years. And it seemed like a huge disruption. Like I was producing a show, I was working on a show, I was starring in the show, I was producing the show, I was doing all this work multiple days a week. And then COVID came and shut everything down. And I was going multiple days a week to different networking parties, doing all this entertainment industry, just like really trying to make the acting stuff happen. And then COVID, and it shut everything down, and it gave us all time to think. It gave us time to think what's important to our life, what matters most to us. And I realized I didn't want to do that show anymore. I didn't want to produce that show anymore. Even with the, it made you reframe everything. Like, why am I going to all these networking parties every night, trying to make friends with people to try to get hired when I have things that I want to do myself? So what did I do? I rewrote my book, Poetic Prescriptions for Pesky Problems, during COVID. I wrote the You Are Worthy book during, when the COVID was shut down. I realized I wanted to do more of this, more coaching. I started coaching more full-time when COVID happened. So I had an intention with the acting. The disruption came, but like Via says, sometimes it's not to harm you, it's to help you. It helps clear your path. So getting clear on what it is for you. Are you clear on what your dream is? Are you clear on what your goals are? Do you know what it's going to take to make it happen? Nicola sent me a gift. Thank you for the gift, Nicola. I appreciate you. Are you clear on what is making it happen? Are you guys having trouble hearing me or seeing me? I have a new computer, so it should. Okay. I'm glad you guys, some of you were saying you couldn't hear me or see me, or there was technical problems. So what is it? Is this disruption meant to throw you off? Is it meant to cause you to rethink things? What is this disruption for? Also, let's see. Some of you guys said, okay, so you guys can hear me and see me. Yeah. Okay. Mariana's saying she lost the most important person in her life, her husband, to cancer, literally days before the COVID shutdown. Unbelievable. Sometimes life just smacks you upside the head, doesn't it? Things that you never see coming. Let's see. Just refreshed. Okay, glitching, but now they're back. Okay. Jordan said, I actually found you, Catherine, because of the Thanksgiving video you did with Darman. Cool. And we have Ciro Hollick here. All right. So when is the best time to work on your goals and dreams? Anyone have an answer to that? It's not when everything is perfect. It's not when everything is going right. It's not when there's no distractions. The speaker, Myron Golden, at the event was saying, it's now o'clock. What time is it? It's now o'clock. Now is the best time. There's an old, is it a Japanese proverb? I don't remember, but they say there's a Japanese proverb that says the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is now. So let's see. You guys are saying, okay, somebody's apologizing to somebody. That's always good. If you have a fallout with anyone, always reflect on yourself. Yeah, I was talking to a coaching client this week that had a bit of a fallout with someone. Reflecting on yourself, and we have protective mechanisms, and sometimes it's easy to think it's someone else's fault, that it's always someone else's fault, because obviously we're always going to see things from our point of view more than we're going to see things from other people's point of view. It's how we're wired. And we all have different lenses on, different colored glasses that we see through, right? And I have my celery juice. So we all have different perspectives, and that means we don't always see things the same way other people see them. So when you get in a fight with someone, you have a fallout with someone, it's easy to automatically go, well, they did this, they did that, da, 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 da. And I had a fallout with a friend a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, first I was hurt, then I was mad, and I was like beating myself up, believing the accusations, and then I was like, well, that's not true though. And then I was like defending myself. It's weird. You go through all these emotions, and after more careful thought, I realized that's just her perspective. That doesn't make it the truth. That's just how she sees things. If you guys have read my You Are Worthy book, or you've seen my You Are Worthy course, the book is available on Amazon. You know that I have this scenario I talk about where we're not seeing things from a proper perspective, right? None of us really see clearly, because how we're seeing the world is based on our upbringing. It's based on what we've been taught. It's based on what we've been programmed. We may have a dirty pair of lenses on that we don't know that we're seeing. So for instance, if you go outside and you have like a physical pair of glasses on, and that pair of glasses is all gunked up and it's full of junk, when you go outside, you can't properly see that the sun is shining. Like, things are going to look gloomy and darker than it should be. And so, like in the physical, I need to take these glasses off and clean them. And only then will I be able to see properly that the sun is shining and everything is going good. But what you don't know is that you've put on a pair of inner lenses because of past trauma you've had, because of how you've been raised, because you've been programmed, because stuff has happened to you, what people have said to you. You see the world through a certain set of lenses. So we don't always see things the way they are. We see things as we are. Right? So if you had a guy treat you terribly and cheat on you and da-da-da, you start to look at guys like, guys just do me wrong. They just cheat on me. They're not good. You can't trust them. That's a lens through which you see things. That's how you've programmed yourself to see the world. So I realized a couple weeks later that this friend of mine, she's just seeing things through her perspective, through what she's been through. And it's not like I was taking to heart all of these negative things she was saying about me. She was even coming up with negative scenarios about really positive stuff I was doing. And it's not the first time this has happened to me. I remember a business partner I had, when I decided to start eating more fruits and vegetables, when I decided to go vegan, like, she wanted to do an intervention with me. She's like, oh, I'm so concerned about you. You're taking this the wrong way. You're trying to eat all this healthy food, and I'm really concerned that you're just trying to be vain. You just have this ego. You're just into yourself. So she made up this whole thing about me wanting to have more fruits and vegetables, that meant I was egotistical and vain and da-da-da. My point, what I'm trying to get across to you, is people are going to accuse you of stuff. People are going to project onto you things that they think and they believe, and try to label you as things, because that's how they see the world. Now, it just so happened to be that this ex-friend of mine, who wanted to have an intervention with me because I wanted to eat more fruits and vegetables and not sit around and eat peanut M&Ms with her and Chunky Monkey Haagen-Dazs ice cream every night like we used to, she made it mean that I was becoming vain and egotistical because I wanted to take care of my health. When the truth was, our bodies are a temple of God, and we should honor God in our body. And if God gives you a calling on your life, a big calling, you want to be healthy enough to fulfill the call that God has in your life, to reach your goals and reach your dreams. So sometimes that means pushing away the plate. Sometimes that means saying no to supersizing, just getting size medium of your fries and burgers. Sometimes that means simple changes, saying no to the cheese on the cheeseburger, which is going to save you 100 calories a day. Little things here and there just for the sake of your health. Sometimes that means switching out the fries for a side of fruit or a side salad, taking care of your health because your goals are important, right? Your body is a temple of God, and you want to honor him in your body. So disruption follows intentions. What people's perception People will project what they've been through, what they perceive. So I don't want you guys to take it to heart when someone's mean to you, when someone says, you're just this, you're just that. It doesn't mean you are. It just means that's what they think because that's how they see the world. So I need to get better, and probably you need to get better at when people say mean and nasty and ugly things to you, not taking it to heart, not believing it, not thinking you're the worst person in the world because of that. Now, sometimes this takes a little soul searching because sometimes when people say stuff to you, there is a glimmer of truth in that. So this was a hard one for me because I would just take what people said as gospel, like, that must be the truth. I'm a horrible person. I did it. I just am like, oh, how could I be like this? Why am I such an awful person? There may have been a glimmer of truth in it. There may have been a nugget of truth in what people are saying to you, but you have to pull away the judgment, right? Pull away what that makes you seem like you are, what you believe, anything that's going to drag you down, and pull it apart and try to see it from an objective point of view, like sharing it with a friend, like, this is what happened and this is what I think that means. They might have a completely different perspective. You may be beating yourself up over no reason. Yes, there may be something constructive in their feedback. So when my friend was downing me and saying all this negative stuff, and you're this and you're that and you're doing that and so these are two different friends I'm talking about. So the one that was talking about, oh, you shouldn't be eating all those fruits and vegetables, she had been obese most of her life. So it may have been confronting to her. It may have been upsetting to her that I was on this new path to health, because when you do something, it's kind of like it holds a mirror up to other people. And they start to go, oh, well, if she's not going to come over and eat Haagen-Dazs Chunky Monkey ice cream with me anymore, then am I doing the wrong thing? Sometimes when you start to do the right thing, it's confronting to other people. But you got to stay on your path. You got to do what's right for you, even if people around you get upset, even if they don't like that you're doing that. So in the other scenario, just a few weeks ago, when this friend accused me of all this stuff, it's not that she was correct in her assessment, because I was really doing some soul searching, like, God, is she right? Should I have done this? Should I not have done this? Sometimes people will be upset with you because you're being something they want to be. Sometimes there was a jealousy and envy thing, and that came out where she admitted she was envious and all this kind of stuff. She was jealous of certain things. You know what? It's not your fault if you make choices in your life that are different from other people. If they get mad at you because you made better choices than them, I'm sorry that they made different choices. I'm sorry that they're not happy with the choices they made, but they can't be taking that out on you because you made better choices. And that's why people try to pull you down into their junk. That's why that whole saying, misery loves company. Misery loves company. So someone, they go, oh, Catherine's going to be just doing fruits and vegetables now, but I know she loves onion rings. They're vegan. Let's tempt her with some onion rings. That's fine. Okay. But I'm trying not to eat fried foods, So when someone knows, your true friends, your good friends, your friends that want to see you excel, your friends that want to see you do better, aren't going to pull you down into their mess just so they'll feel better. They're not going to come to your house with your favorite kind of onion rings when you tell them you're on a diet, right? Mona, oh my gosh. Thank you so much for the generous gift. You are so kind. I can tell you've maybe had some experience in this area that this is resonating with you. Raise your hand. I don't know. I can't see your hands. Type yes in the comments if you have ever had someone try to pull you off what you're trying to do, trying to pull you away from the intentions that you set because you said, I'm going to do this. And they try to pull you away in the other direction. Look at all the yeses I'm getting. Does that mean they're right? Does that mean you should follow what they're saying? Or should you stay true to your course, even if others don't like it? when you start to get clear on your vision, your goals, your dreams, you're going to have people coming out of the woodworks to disrupt you, right? Disruption follows intention. They're going to try to get you off, knock you down, not because they don't love you. Some of them don't, but some of them are so scared that you're going to change and that you're going to leave them behind. Thank you for all the yeses. Look at all the yeses. Some of them, it's just because it's a threat to them. They're feeling like they're going to be left behind. Let me look at some of your comments. How do we go from 90% reflection and 10% taking action to 90% taking action and 10% reflection? The thing is, you got to be clear. I've been traveling. I was in San Diego for a retreat, and then I think I was home a day to regroup. Then I was in Florida for a conference for several days. I think I was home a day. Then I was in Las Vegas for a mastermind, and now I'm home today and tomorrow. And then I leave for, where am I going? I'm going to Atlanta to speak at a conference. So you have to know when's the time to reflect and when's the time to act. It's easy to be stuck in one or the other. I have a friend who's 90% reflection. And that seems like, I look at it, I'm such a doer. I look at it like, man, she's wasting all this time sitting around thinking. I'm like, when are you going to do something? But sometimes that's better. Sometimes that's a better place to be, because when you are reflecting, you can get really crystal clear on what it is you're supposed to do. Where should you be? Who should you be with? What should you be going towards? What should you be going after? And once you're clear on it, you could be more powerful in the 10% than sometimes I am in the 90% doing mode. Because sometimes I'm doing all this stuff, and it's not paying off on the level I should, because I haven't taken the time to pull back and reflect on what is the best thing to do. Like, I've got piles of paper, I've got long to-do lists, I'm doing all these things, but if I don't stop to reflect on, is this still serving me? Is this really going to help my future? Is this going to help my goals? You guys have to do the same thing. What is it in your life where you're like doing, and nothing seems to be working? It's like you're throwing spaghetti against the wall. Have you ever heard that phrase? Throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what stick. That's been most of my life, spinning in like a hamster wheel, I'm doing all this stuff. But what is going to have the payoff? What do we need to reflect on? What is going to have the best intent for you? What is going to have the best payoff? Do you know what it is? Have you reflected long enough to know what it is? Okay. Samuel's saying, I'm autistic and sometimes I don't know if people are joking with me or not. Yeah, and that's another, we all have things where maybe we don't know. Maybe we're deficient in some areas that other people aren't. And I don't know how it's affecting you, but I understand that's a very real thing. Sometimes it can be a good thing, right? Those of us who know when people are making fun of us, we can get our feelings hurt a lot easier. So I don't know if you know this, Samuel, but my older son, Timothy, the tall one that came in with the dog, he's autistic too. And he doesn't think makes fun of him. He doesn't think I've seen him get bullied and made fun of, but he doesn't know it's happening. So he doesn't get his feelings hurt. So it ends up being a good thing, right? So, Orly says, I had a lot of disruptions in my life this past year, but I was able to go for my goals and dreams and succeed. I was stressed out, but now when I look back, I was supposed to go through that to grow. And that is an excellent point. And that's actually something I wanted to bring up. But thank you for reminding me of that, Orly. Sometimes when we're trying to go for our goals and this disruption comes and everyone comes to interrupt us and distract us, that sometimes that's meant to see, like, how are we going to grow from that? The things that used to take us off our game, and then we learn how to get over that stress and we learn how to overcome it. You look back and you're like, I am so proud of myself for getting through that. 5 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do that. 2 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do that. Where have you gone? What are the heights that you've gone to where you can be like, that used to take me out, and now I eat that for breakfast? It's like, is that all you got, devil? You grow so much stronger in your mental resolve, in your tenacity, in your stick-to-itness, spiritual life, you learn to overcome these things, and then you show God that you're ready for the next level. You're ready for bigger things, right? Good. That Samuel, that is so wise. He says, when people say mean things to me, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt. Exactly. Hey, Ananda. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. Nicholas says, sometimes the people who are closest to you can hurt us the most. Yeah. It can be like shocking. It can be like a sucker punch to the gut. I've been through that many times in my life. You're like, how could this I remember a very close friend of mine just made up this outrageous lie just and told people about it. And I remember being so angry. I'm like, how could she possibly make up this lie about me and then tell people about it? And a lot of times what they do, it isn't about you. It's about them and their insecurities. We've got to stop taking things personally. Yes, I'm drinking celery juice. Someone just asked. Let's see. What questions of mine did I miss? Yes, Nicola, I knew Ayana was vegan. Yeah, we've been on set together before. Okay, Choir says, okay, see here. Okay. Mona's doing her meal prep. That's what she does on Sundays because she's trying to succeed. So she probably knows very well when you're not prepared, what happens. She does her meal prep. She does her shopping. She does her meal prep because she's trying to stay on board her healthy plan. How many of you know if you don't make plans, you will fail? If I don't bring with me the snacks I need when I go to set, if I don't bring my juices, my smoothies, my fruits, my apples, whatever it is, my cucumber slices and hummus, whatever it is, then I will fall for the craft service. I will fall for the bags of chips on set because everyone knows you're going to get hungry. Are you going to be prepared or are you going to just succumb to what's there? So many times, like I know I'm allergic to gluten, and so many times I don't bring enough food with me and I end up the only thing available for me to eat is something that has gluten in it. And then I end up getting a stomach ache and a big bloated belly and inflammation because I wasn't prepared. But you can use that analogy in life for anything. Whenever you're not prepared, you're going to succumb to whatever is there. So in order to reach your goals, in order to reach your dreams, in order to succeed in what's important to you, what is it that you need to do to prepare to make that happen? And knowing that disruption follows intention, how can you prepare for possible interruptions? Sometimes that reflective time that VS was talking about, I'm going to sit back before I go to do this thing and let me think about what I might possibly need. So I'm going to go speak at a conference in Atlanta. What do I possibly need? Okay, if I forget my speech, right? I have 45 minutes I'm going to be speaking. That's a long time to memorize. Maybe just in case I forget something, I should have cue cards, right? Maybe I should have little index cards with little points so I remember. What else might I need? Okay, there's a PowerPoint. If I was just relying on the PowerPoint instead of the cue cards and something happened and the PowerPoint wasn't working and I didn't have cue cards, I would be relying on the slides to tell me what I was supposed to say next, but there's a problem with the connections, right? So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about troubleshooting. What do I need to do to prepare for what's coming up? Maybe sometimes you need to think about what are the worst possible scenarios that could happen. But I want to give you a caveat here. When you guys are thinking about bad things that could happen in order to prepare for an event, I don't want you to get stuck on the bad things that could happen. I want you to get stuck on the solution because that's no different than worrying. You're not supposed to worry, right? We're supposed to not have anxiety, right? The scripture says, be anxious for nothing, but in all things with prayer and thanksgiving, make your requests known to God, right? And he's going to give us the peace that surpasses all understanding to guard our heart and mind. But be mindful of like this thing could happen. It's no different than like, I know I'm going to be outside all day. I should bring an umbrella in case it rains. I should bring sunscreen in case there's no shade, right? If you're going to the beach, you want to be prepared. I should bring snacks in case there's no food stand nearby. So, what is it that you need to prepare for? What is it that you need to be ready for? Not that you're going to sit and go, oh my gosh, this horrible thing would happen. I'm going to forget my whole speech, and then I'm going to be a laughing stock, and then people in the audience are going to make fun of me, and then I'm never going to get hired as a speaker again, and and you start making up these scenarios. So when you've got something you're preparing for, I'm not talking about thinking of the bad case scenarios to make up stories about how everything's going to go miserably wrong. I'm saying to think of worst case scenarios so you can be prepared to turn things around and make it go right in case there's a glitch. Does that make sense for you guys? Does that make sense? Type yes in the chat. Can you see how this might help you with your life? When you go to school to take a test, you don't just bring one pencil, right? Because if your pencil breaks, you want to have another, right? If your pen runs out of ink, you want to have another. Okay. If this is helpful, type yes in the chat. If this is helping you come up with some things that'll better your life, type yes in the chat. All right, Sugar Plum List says, you're the best actor in Dhar Mann. Thank you. Nicholas says, is Eli on the spectrum? He has been diagnosed as being on the spectrum. If he is, I would say it's pretty low. I mean, at least in comparison to Timmy, but I don't know. I don't like to compare them. So, okay, let's see. I'm looking at your comments. Okay, we've got Anand. It says, I'm going through a mental breakdown because my friend stabbed me. I understand those feelings. I just don't want you to stay there. When your friends backstab you, you can't stay in that place and blaming yourself and beating yourself up. Yes, you can look at what happened and ask yourself and ask God, what was my role in this? Did I do something to contribute to this? Sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. So don't automatically take something people say about you as 100% truth, right? Maybe you had something to do with it. Maybe you can go, you know what? I probably shouldn't have said this one thing, or I probably shouldn't have done this one thing. Okay, I can see how I might be responsible for part of that, right? I can see that might be something I need to work on. But if you're constantly beating yourself up and tearing yourself down because somebody backstabbed you, most of the time, believe this, guys, most of the time when people say something negative about you and put you down, it's just them. It's really not you. It's them. Because people speak out of what comes out of them is what's inside them. So if you know people that are always nice and giving you compliments, that's because that's what's inside them. The scripture says in Proverbs, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So we can tell what's inside. Just be around people and be quiet. When you're around a new group of people and you don't know if you want to make friends with them, don't share immediately. Don't be so open. Don't be so sharing. You want to sit back and listen. You want to be kind and acknowledging and maybe sharing little things that aren't important. Like, oh yeah, I've felt like that before too. Do not share your deep, dark secrets of your heart until you know that this is a person you can trust. And the only way you're going to know that is by listening. Now, if you're around people and they start talking trash about people, they start talking trash about other people, they start putting other people down, even if you agree with them, even if you've had bad experiences with that person too, just watch out because you're going to be next. People who gossip about everyone will eventually gossip about you. People who are criticizing everyone will eventually criticize you. So you got to allow people time to speak to see what they're really like, right? Our Nana and I used to go to the same church, in His Presence Church. And our Pastor Mel, used to always say, time is the weapon that forces deception to reveal itself. Time is the weapon that forces deception to reveal itself. What does that mean? It means just give someone time, and who they really are is going to come out. It takes at least 6 months probably to really get to know.
He took my pussy.
He took your plushie?
Yeah.
Okay, well, he'll let go of it. Why don't you go bring him his plushie and give that to him? Then you can take yours back. So people are going to show who they are. They can't hide who they are for long, right? Sometimes you guys get in a relationship too soon and you get too intimate, too close, too quickly. And then you're like, this person is a nightmare. This is not who I thought they were. You got too close, too intimate, too quickly. Love is blind, right? You couldn't see who they truly were because you can hide behind a mask for a certain period of time, but the true person will reveal itself. And you also have to go not by what they say, but by what they do. Because people can spout all this good stuff. I love you, baby. You're the best. I would never do anything to hurt you. You mean the world to me. And then they're treating you like crap. They're putting you down. They're making you last. They're not encouraging your dreams. They're telling you stay home. Don't hang out with those friends. They're telling you what to do. And you know the saying, when people show you who they are, believe them. Because a lot of times it's not about what they say, it's about what they do. None of us, not a single person, is who they say they are. We're not who we say we are. We are what we do. We are the sum total of the things that we do. I could tell you all day long, I'm a Christian, I love God. And then if I'm coming home and I'm punching my husband and I'm putting my kids down and saying mean things to them, and I'm cutting people off in traffic and flipping them off and giving them the bird, I'm cussing out my coworkers, I'm not giving to people that shows that I'm not. I could say I am all day long. And that's another thing that has some religious people not really like religious people, because who they say they are is opposite from what they do. And that's why a lot of times people go, I don't like religious people. I don't like Christians. They're so judgmental. Well, maybe those people that were saying they were Christians and were pointing their fingers and judging everyone else, maybe they're not even Christians. Maybe they think they are because they grew up in a Christian household.
He peed.
Did he pee? Okay.
Yeah, come on.
Well, I'm doing a live stream right now, but if you want to grab a towel and clean it up, that'd be really helpful. Grab a towel from the bathroom and clean it up. So I got this dog, and he's not potty trained. These friends of mine had him for a year
No, you don't.
and just kept him like in a cage all day and never potty trained him. It's very heartbreaking. He was so skinny. I don't think he was being fed enough, and he was. So now I'm having to correct all the wrongs that have to, give him a proper home. Revamping.
No. My devil.
So now Eli's having a tug of war with the dog on the towel. So people are not who they say they are. They are what they do. So maybe you've heard that, hey, Eli, can you please stop crying? Just get a different one. Just get a different one.
I
These
hate
kids-
feet. Ow!
The dog just bit him in the leg. Honey, remember how I told you don't run? He's scared. It's been kind of a nightmare. This is the disruption. Disruption follows intention, right?
My toe.
Oh, we dropped the light again. Okay.
My toe.
We're doing the best we can here. This is what happens, right? Disruption follows intention.
My toe.
Okay, it's okay, honey. It's okay. Nugget? Quiet. Disruption follows intention. That's the topic today, right? When you get set out to do something, sometimes it gets messed up. Does that mean you quit? No, we don't quit, right? We're gonna train this dog how to behave. We're gonna show him how to be kind, how not to bite you.
I don't like you.
You don't like him now. Yeah, he doesn't know how to behave, honey. He was not socialized properly. They kept him in a cage all day long. And we have to help him learn how to behave, okay? We have to show him. We have to show him how to behave. Okay. All right, so I'm looking at some of your comments now. Is this making sense? People are not who they say, they are what they do. So someone calling themselves a Christian who doesn't act like Christ is not actually a Christian. Just like if I stood in my garage all day and called myself a car, I still wouldn't be a car,
Mommy,
right?
Mommy,
Yes, sweetie.
in my tongue.
Okay, well, you can go get another one. It's okay. You can go get another one. Okay, so I'm looking at your comments. Let's see. Albasi says, "Hi, can you show how you put your hair in a bun? It looks cool on Darman." I don't know which time. Eli, do you want to sit on my lap? Would you feel better if you sit on my lap? Okay. Well, don't worry. We're gonna train this dog. We're gonna train him, and he's gonna be a good dog soon. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Jasmine says, I remember in second grade, I had this group of friends. One of them said a lie about me, and she's one of my close friends. Isn't that awful when that happens? Okay. Kevin says, when is your first time working with Darman? It was back in 2018, about getting close to 5 years ago. All right. I'm looking at your comments to see if any of them go with what we're talking about. It's okay, sweetie. You're going to be okay. I'm getting a lot of yes in the comments. You guys can relate. This has happened to you. Acme says actions speak louder than words. Yeah, I can't hear what you're saying. You know, there was a poem I learned years ago. I don't know the whole poem, but I know a couple stanzas of it. I think it's called I'd Rather See a Sermon. So I'll share some of it with you. It says, I'd rather see a sermon than hear one any day. I'd rather one should walk with me than merely show the way. For the eye's a better pupil and more willing than the ear. Fine counsel is confusing, but examples are always clear. And I'd rather learn my lesson by observing what you do. Do you know that one? You know that poem? Fine examples always clear. Anyway, this whole poem goes on to talk about how it's great to tell someone a sermon. It's great to say, do this, do that, do that. But it's even better and even easier to learn if we're showing it, if we're modeling it, if we're being it.
Just train the dog.
We will train the dog. We will get the dog training. We'll do whatever we need to do so that my kids aren't running around scared of this little Maltese. But Timmy's scared of him too. He doesn't know how to act around people. Yeah, it's very sad. So what is it that we can do to model the behavior? How do you want people to treat you? Model it for them. How do you want anything to go? You model it. You know, sometimes parents act in these awful ways and then they get shocked and surprised and mad at their kids who then do the same. And there's a saying that people used to say, do as I say, not as I do. So many parents were like, do what I say, don't do what I do. How can we? If you're sitting around drinking soda, smoking cigarettes, and cussing up a storm, and then you're so shocked that your kid starts swearing and smoking cigarettes, that's what you've modeled for them. That's what you've shown them. Does this have pee on it? I don't want this. Is this a dog pee on it? I don't want it on my lap. Oof. Oof. Oof.
Smells fresh.
So if you want people to act a certain way, that's how if you want your kids to do certain things, and this is important. If you're telling your kids you can have any dream in your heart, you can go for all your desires, you can become anything you want to be, but you're putting yourself down, you've given up on yourself, you don't like the way you look, you're putting down yourself, and you're telling your kid, you're telling your boy or your girl, you look great, you're beautiful, and they're like, but mom, you don't like yourself, you don't like how you look. We pick up on that. I used to hear my dad put himself down. I don't know if I should say that, but I used to hear him like, oh, no one's going to want to hear my stories. No one's going to want to hear from me. I'm just a house painter. I'm not, he didn't think he had what it took. Hey, Nugget, go lay down. And that was, my dad's not the sole reason. He's not like the reason I had self-worth issues. But it certainly didn't help, right? It certainly didn't help that I heard himself putting himself down every now and then, right? So we have to model for other people how we want them to act and how we want them to treat us, right? If we put ourselves down, they're going to feel free to put us down. If we downgrade ourselves, they're going to feel free to downgrade themselves, right? That was the ring light that we were using on the computer. Okay, let me check out some of your comments. Marianne's, she's talking to somebody else. Okay, who else do we have here? A lot of comments today. You guys are having your own little side chat. Do you need some help putting this back up? Your own little side chat here. Okay. Derek says, my parents did not model really sociable behavior. So Derek has a double challenge. He didn't have someone to model good social behavior for him. And Derek, as he's mentioned on other live streams, is also autistic. So having the deficiency of that diagnosis of sometimes not having the social skills and then having your parents not model it for it, that can sometimes put you at a disadvantage. So that's when we know what our disadvantages is, we have to try to find ways to overcompensate for it. And I've worked with Derek on this a few times, giving him some advice on what to do. So hopefully that's working. Let's see. Marianne says, my parents would tell me no one wanted to hear my stories. Yeah. And then if we believe it, then we don't live up to who we're meant to be. We're meant to share. We're meant to tell our stories. There's an innate need in all of us to share our stories, right? When we go through something, we want to share it to help others through it. And you know what the thing is? This is another thing I learned in Myron's conference. He said, most people will fight tooth and nail for their limitations. And if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. So if you're the kind of person that goes around saying, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that, I'm bad at that, I don't look good, I'm not smart, I'm not this, that's you fighting for your limitations. That's you getting stuck on all the reasons you can't do something. If you fight for your limitations, that means you get to keep them. If you walk around all day saying, I can't handle it, so stressed out and not being able to handle it, that's your limitations you're fighting for. So I'm not innocent of this. I have to be mindful every day on the words I speak, because that's how I'm programming myself. And that's how I'm programming other people around me to treat me by it, because they see if I act like I have no value, then others are going to treat me like I have no value. So some of you guys are so shocked when someone treats you poorly, and yet you go around treating yourself poorly. Is this hitting home for anyone? You go around treating yourself like crap, and then you're so shocked when someone else treats you like crap. Well, guess what? That's what you modeled for them. When you treat yourself as someone worthy, when you treat yourself as someone who deserves to be loved, who deserves to be spoken to in a kind, respectful manner, then people will fall in line with what you show them. We're constantly showing people how to treat us. When I used to, back when I first started acting, think my skills weren't enough, not like, oh, they didn't pay me. Oh, well, I just won't ask. Maybe they didn't have it in their budget. Maybe, oh, I don't know why I didn't get my check. Maybe they lost mine in the mail. Maybe I shouldn't bother them. Maybe they did send it. And I would just like, if it was one of my friends that said, hey, I didn't get the check for that acting job, I'd have been like, let me call them up for you, right? And sometimes we'll fight for others way more than how we fight for ourselves. So is all of this making sense? Say yes in the chat if it is. What that means for you is you cannot fight for your deficiencies. You cannot fight to keep the things that you don't like. You have to fight for the things that you're doing right. We have to be on the constant lookout for the things that we're doing right in our life, not just be looking at all the things that we're doing wrong in our life. Right? So let me see some of your comments. Christina said she got traumatized as a kid because dogs. She had some dogs attack her. Nana says, well, you showed your dad that everything he had to say was worthwhile and you gave him the gift of a lifetime. Thank you, Nana. So all those stories he wrote for the last 40 or 50 years, I finally put them together in that book. I don't know if you guys saw my dad's book, The 100 Air. He would have never done it. You see, one time my dad submitted one of his stories to Guideposts, and because they rejected his story, he never tried again. He never tried again to get his thing published. Some people, the rejection is so hard on them, and timing, it was a very vulnerable time in my dad's life. He had written a story about his battle with grief after his wife and baby were killed. He was driving the car and he probably had survivor's guilt. A gravel truck ran a stop sign, crashed into their VW. My dad's ribs were cracked, lungs punctured. He almost died. His wife and baby died. And he wrote about his battle with grief. So it wasn't just like, this is a made-up story, I'm going to submit it to this newsletter, and they turned me down, this magazine. This was his life and the worst thing that's ever happened to him in his life. And getting turned down from that, you guys can imagine some of the stories he was telling himself about that, about his abilities, about his capabilities. This is long before I was born, y'all. And when we think about the scripture in Romans 8:28, everything works together for the good of, everything works together for good for those who love God and who are called according to his purpose. If my dad did not lose his wife and baby, I wouldn't be here today. He met my mom later at Bible college. So that's just an example of God working everything out. Whatever happens, life is going to happen, right? This is a fallen world. Bad stuff happens to people. But God will always turn around the bad stuff that happens to us by the foolishness of others, by the devil, by bad choices we make, and he will work it out for good if we allow him and if we let him. So just so you know, guys, disruption will always follow your intention, but the best time to start is now. It is now o'clock. And just because you're not good at something now doesn't mean you won't be later. It doesn't mean you won't be when you finish. If you got a dream, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to keep getting better. You got to know that disruptions are going to come and don't let that mean you need to stop. All right. I hope you guys love this. I hope you got a lot out of it. And I think I will see you next week. I do get back from Atlanta on Saturday. So I think I'll be here Sunday live streaming with you. As always, live true, love hard, and shine bright.